Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Mike Gio, a physical therapist. And yes, I'm your alternative healthcare career coach. Today, we're going to be interviewing Dr. H. Paul Stanley at Memphis. We'll be back in a few seconds, okay?
HelloNote is a truly therapist-friendly practice management solution with integrated EMR that will enhance workflow, efficiency, and patient care. HelloNote reduces error and allows you to spend more time with your patients. It comes integrated with billing. Claims are generated once a note is completed. You can bill with one click and a patient portal, which streamlines the patient intake process. Beautifully engineered and cloud-based for easy accessibility, the software works on all platforms. You can access patient records from anywhere. We also offer 24/7 support. HelloNote is the practice management solution that you're looking for.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Mike Gio. We are back. Well, anyway, we are going to be interviewing a special guest for tonight.
Premiumbeat.com.
If you're watching live, comment live. Watching on the replay, comment replay. But this episode is brought to you by HelloNote.com. Check it out if you need documentation system in your outpatient clinic, physical therapy, outpatient speech therapy clinic. Check it out, HelloNote.com, right? And of course, don't forget to check out if you need continuing education units, check it out, medbridgeeducation.com. Use the code alternative. You get 40% discount, not just 10, not 20, not 30, but 40% discount. I wish they just give it out for free, right? But yeah, 40%, right? So if you need continuing education units, I teach classes too for therapists, speech therapists, occupational, any medical professional. Most of us, we need continuing education units. Check it out, medbridgeeducation.com. Use the code alternative, right? And speaking of continuing education, tomorrow I'll be speaking at that PESI Summit. It's called Geriatric Summit, wherein it's different speakers from pharmacy field, physician, nurse practitioner, and everything like that. Hey, people are watching from California. Thank you very much for those people who are watching live. And of course, comment there where you at. But before I keep on going, let me just encourage you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's not reading, it's not focusing, but let me just read this for you, ladies and gentlemen. Opportunity awaits. Take the first step. There are a lot of opportunities out there, ladies and gentlemen. I always preach this, in the middle of crisis lies an opportunity. And yes, we are in a crisis right now. A lot of us here in the world, especially here in whatever you're going through, it's either you're in a crisis, getting out of a crisis, or getting into a crisis. And it says here, opportunity awaits, ladies and gentlemen. Always take the first step. All right.
Premiumbeat.com.
All right, let's go ahead and bring in our special guest for today. Our special. I'm running out of English, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, English is not my first language. If you hear me speaking gibberish, it's not speaking in tongues. I'm just running out of English. Our special guest for tonight is Dr. H. Paul Stanley. He is a retired psychologist. Doesn't look like that old. He doesn't look like he's retired, He is a stress relief life balance coach. All right. We gotta ask him, everybody's stressed right now. I was just talking to our patients. We got this nervous system in our body. You got two types of nervous system, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Normally it balances out. Your sympathetic, your fight or flight, or your parasympathetic, or your rest and digest. But what's happening in this world right now, not just the world, the body, our own body, our nervous system, is we are on a stress and a fight or flight mode. That's why we're bringing in Dr. Paul Stanley today. Maybe he could help out find the relief in stress, right? And of course, balance coach. He's also a balance coach. Hopefully not the balance that we do in Geriab, but balance in life. I think that's what he's going to be talking about. So he works with business and service professionals and others that may be struggling with stress. So we're also streaming this in our Alzheimer's group, of course, in our YouTube show. And also, of course, in our podcast. If you got stress in life, reach out to him. And then, of course, he is also helping them get quick relief from symptoms of stress and the more lasting, or what you call real relief from the causes of stress. I love that because there's so much instant thing there. You're releasing those dopamine receptors. We don't want that. What you want is the real relief, wherein actually it's going to give you the long-term results. Okay, so without further ado, Let's go ahead and bring in Dr. H. Paul Stanley.
Premiumbeat.com.
What is going on, Dr. H. Paul?
Hello, Dr. Mike.
Well,
Every time a video goes on or off on my screen, I get this thing across it that says video is paused. It's my virus scan is pausing it. So I keep having to click that off, and it keeps coming back. But we're good right now.
but at least it's working.
It's a
working,
stressor.
right?
It's a stressor. That's what it is.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, another stressor, another thing to raise up our stress in our lives. Well, anyway, could you please tell us again, Dr. H. Paul? I mean, what do you do, and then why do you do this, sir?
Okay, well, I became extremely interested in stress back when I first started my career back in 1977. I had just finished my master's degree. I had my first job in a mental health position. I felt like I was in over my head. I was the only counselor that was working in this organization. At that time, I wasn't a psychologist. I became a psychologist in 1984. But I started having these really, really debilitating headaches every day. Headaches that I would have to either leave work, go home and go to bed, or go in my office and shut the door and put my head down. I was really struggling with them. And first thing I did was what most people do. I went to see the doctor. I got lots of medicines, antidepressants, listen to me, sinus medications. What am I trying to say? What kills the infection? Antibiotics. I was say antibiotics. My mind went blank there for a minute.
Well, that's the first stage, Dr. Paul. You know that.
That's right. That's right. I'm getting there. None of it helped. And so I went to see an eye doctor. I thought maybe eye strain was the problem. He said, well, no, I don't think it's eye strain. You have a little bit of stigmatism, but it's not bad. And it's not, the headaches you're having are not like the headaches that come from eye strain. And then I had a doctor give me a medication. I think the name of it was Bellergau Space Tabs. That's a medication that's used for two things primarily. One is menstrual cramps. I knew I wasn't having menstrual cramps. I knew that wasn't a problem. The other thing that it was used for was tension, stress, basically. And I thought, well, I know how to deal with tension. That's part of what I've been trained to do. So I started using some rapid stress relief techniques, and within about 2 weeks, the headaches were gone and they've never come back. Now I have a headache once in a blue moon. So that was one of the things that made me really become interested in stress. And then as I was working with people, counseling people that were having all kinds of problems, I became very much aware that the core of almost every problem a person has is stress. I mean, when you're stressed, you become irritable, and so you're more likely to become involved in altercations and arguments and have relational conflicts. Your impulse control is weakened, and so you're more likely to spend money, for example, impulsively, and so that contributes to financial problems.
You're talking to me, Dr. Paul?
I'm talking to all of us. Like. I think it's like 97% of the population struggles with stress. People tend to use more mood and mind altering substances when they're stressed out. And not only the mood and mind altering drugs, but also drugs like Tylenol and ibuprofen. One of the things that contributed to my mother's death was the overuse of Tylenol. If you're having a lot of stress-related aches and pains, headaches, muscle pain, then you tend to use more Tylenol, and that can become a problem. So it causes substance abuse problems, and not just the addictive kinds of substances, but other kinds of substances as well. It just creates problems in every area of life. And so I really focused much of my psychology career on helping people learn how to manage the stress in their life. And then when I retired after, I was 67 years old at the time. It was in March of 2018. I had a granddaughter that was turning 7 years old, and she had a birthday party at a skating rink. Back in the day, I used to skate a lot. So I thought, well, I'll skate. So I put on some skates and I started skating around the rink, and I fell, and I got up and I started skating again, and I fell, and I got up and I started skating again. And that time I didn't, I fell, but I didn't get up. I shattered my tibia plateau, drove bone fragments down into the bone canal. The orthopedic surgeon had to go down below the about midway down my tibia and make a little window and drive all those bone fragments back up and graft them in with bone grafting. And I couldn't walk or drive unassisted for like 7 months. At that time, I was working in a hospital and I was on my feet all day long. And so I just couldn't work. And I thought, well, I'm kind of ready to make a change anyway. So that's when I decided to retire my psychology practice. I had already become interested in coaching and had taken some training and got a certification in coaching. So I thought, well, I'll start a coaching practice. Somebody told me that when you retire, that means to get a new set of tires. So I decided that I would let coaching be my new set of tires. And I started working with people that are struggling with stress in without all the psychopathology that psychologists work with. In fact, let me tell you, people oftentimes ask me, what's the difference between a coach and a psychologist? Many years ago, my wife and I used to work out in the gym at the YMCA, and our local YMCA here. And the corner of the gym was leased by a hospital here in town, and physical therapists used that corner. So I would go in and I'd be working out on machines, and I would see the physical therapist with their patients, having the patients do the same exercises on the same machines. I had a trainer that showed me how to do those exercises and helped me set the limits. Excuse me. The difference was the people the physical therapist was working with had injuries. They had problems where they could cause themselves further injury. They could really harm themselves if they were doing these exercises incorrect. The people that the trainers were working with were healthy. They didn't need that caution. That's how I see coaching and psychology. Psychologists are like physical therapists. They're working with people that are struggling with the same stressors and are doing the same kinds of things to deal with those stressors, but they have psychopathology that makes it more difficult for them, and you have to proceed with more caution. Where coaches work with healthy people. They're people that don't have psychopathology, don't have psychological struggles that have reached a point where they need that extra help. And so you don't have the caution that you'd have to have if you're working with psychologists. And so that's what I'm doing now. I'm working with people that are psychologically healthy and that would like to learn how to not only reduce the symptoms of stress, but tap into and use the benefits of their stress so that they can thrive in every area of their life.
It's perfect. I'm just grabbing my water too. Well, anyway, that was my question. What's the difference between counseling, psychology, coaching, and consulting? So you just answered my secret question there.
Yeah.
But my next question, Dr. Paul, is that could you please tell us what are the different stresses that we can encounter? I mean, is there like a psychological stress? Is there a physical stress, emotional? I mean, what are the different stresses that
Absolutely. There is the psychological and the physical and emotional stress. I define stress a little bit differently than a lot of people. My definition of stress is all the energy generating processes that go on inside your body when you have a task to complete, a challenge to reach, or a need to meet. So you can see from that definition that stress is something that's positive. It's working for you. It's generating energy that you can use to meet your needs and reach your challenges and complete tasks. You can think of it like the motor in your car. You want to get your car from one place to another. And so you get in the car and you start the motor. Once that motor's running, is generating energy, and you can use that energy to transport the car from one place to another place. But you have to regulate the energy. If you don't give it enough gas, particularly if it's going uphill, then it'll stall, and you're not going to get far in a stalled car. On the other hand, if you give it too much gas, then you may lose control and have a wreck or get a speeding ticket. Stress is the same way. When your stress levels are too low, you don't see much published about that, but when stress levels are too low, it's called hypostress, then it leaves you feeling lethargic and bored and unmotivated, depressed. I think that one place that you see hypostress a lot is in nursing homes, because people have had active lives and all of a sudden they're in a nursing home, and what they do all day long is watch daytime TV. There's not much challenge there. There's not much going on. And so they experience hypostress. And then as that stress level comes up, it begins to motivate you, give you energy, give you enhance your strength, enhance your focus, and you can begin using it to move towards your goals. But if the stress goes on for too long or gets up to too high a level, then it becomes distress. And that's the stress that everyone focuses on. When most of the time when people say, oh man, I am really experiencing a lot of stress right now, they mean distress. So the question you said, what triggers stress? Any task that you need to complete, any task you need to complete, any challenge you have, or any need you have to meet can trigger stress. So almost everything you do, in fact, triggers some level of stress.
There you go. I love what you said about, stress is really not all negativity. It is part of it. It's also positivity, because
stress is a positive experience.
Yeah, even in the human body, if you're watching live, comment live, watching a replay, comment replay, see people watching. But even in the human anatomy, you need stress in your bone to make it stronger. You need the gravity pushing you down, and that will make your bone stronger. It prevents osteoporosis, osteopenia, and stuff like that. And same thing with the muscle. Imagine if you're not lifting weights, as if I'm lifting weights, right? And if you're lifting weights, and then if you're not putting stress there, it's not going to make that muscle stronger. You're just developing range of motion. So if you're moving your joint like this is not going to develop strength. It's just going to develop range of motion, but it's not going to make my arm stronger. Yes,
right.
You're moving it, but it's not. It's better when you're putting stress on it, like a like 2 pound, 3 pound weight, and that's how you get better and stronger. Now, here's the thing: there's like what Dr. Paul said. If I added the weights here on my hand, and I keep on moving it again and again and again and again nonstop, is it going to make me stronger? Yes. But if I continually do it, that's when the muscle fatigue comes in. That's where the muscle, we call it rhabdomyolysis, we're in this like really bad muscle pain. That's the bad pain, right? And that's what's happening with our psychological, emotional stress. If you got too much of those, too much stress, it's gonna blow up, right, Dr. H. Paul?
Right. I back years ago, I had a car. It was a manual shift car, and I was driving down the street, and my accelerator cable had frozen. I didn't know it had frozen, and I came to a red light, and I put my foot on the clutch, and of course the RPMs revved up real high.
Those were the days that there were cable, right?
Yeah, and it revved up real high, and it threw a rod. It tore the engine up. I see that as there was too much stress and not enough load for that stress to work against, and it destroyed the engine in the car. So that's what happens to your body. You are putting all this strain on your body, and it begins to wear out. It doesn't have time to repair itself. Your body will repair itself. Unlike that car, your body will repair itself. But if you're if your stress response is activated, where it's revved up, then it shuts down your immune system. Your body stops repairing itself. You need to move into the relaxation response, which is the opposite of the stress response, for your body to start repairing itself again.
All right. So speaking on that stress part, so now you also mentioned the car. You're releasing that accelerator pedal or whatever. So how do we handle it, sir? How do we handle it? Imagine your accelerator cable got stuck, and there it is. The engine blew up or whatever you call that. You had to replace the engine. So us human beings, how do we handle this? For example, I'm stressed out with my job, taking care of my loved ones, or finding a job, got fired, or whatever. How do we handle this? Is there any ways? You mentioned medication earlier. You mentioned about self care. Is there other ways? I mean, to
Absolutely,
deal with it?
absolutely. I have a bias for non-medication therapies, obviously, as a psychologist, a previous psychologist, and now coach. I have two processes that are actually, I have three processes that I work people through. First is the rapid stress relief techniques. And I've been in a lot of dust today and my throat is really scratchy, so excuse my coughing. The rapid stress relief, if you can identify when you move out of hypostress into eustress, where stress begins to become useful to you, motivates you, strengthens you, helps you focus, gives you the energy that you need to move forward. And then that stress comes on up until it gets over to the point of distress. That's where it starts becoming a problem. You use these rapid stress relief techniques to bring the stress back down into the eustress range. It's going to get me some water, so maybe I can quit coughing. But the first thing I do with people is I help them to learn rapid stress relief techniques that they can use to bring the stress back down when it's getting to be too high. That way they can still enjoy the benefits of the energy and the strength that comes from the adrenaline and the glucose that's being released without getting up into the range where it's causing them a lot of problems. Then as they learn how to keep that stress in that optimal range, in that eustress range, then we begin to start working on what I call real stress relief. Real stress relief is where you identify the causes of stress and then begin focusing on those and working towards resolving those causes of stress. And like I said earlier, that's the tasks that you need to complete and the challenges that you want to reach and the needs that that you need to meet. I have two processes that I help people work through those with. The first one is called the CURE process. The CURE process, C-U-R-E, is an acrostic for 4 steps, and they're used to identify internal stressors, mindsets, attitudes, beliefs, things that you're telling yourself, the automatic thoughts. By working through the CURE process, you can identify what those are and then begin to reprogram them. And that's where a lot of this, if I'm sure you've seen people that something will happen that would irritate almost anyone, but it puts some people in a rage. When that's happening, what's going on there is that they have a belief or an attitude, a mindset that's amplifying that stress. When the feeling is way out of proportion to the situation, it's being amplified. And so by using the CURE process, they can identify what that belief system is, what that mindset is, and reprogram it so that it's not continuing to create that problem for them. And then you have the external stressors that are caused by your own situations and circumstances, and even your own behaviors, your actions that trigger stress. The plan that I use to help people work through those is called the GROW plan. And again, that's 4 steps that people can use to change whatever those situations or circumstances or habit patterns are.
Perfect. So you got the two step. First is the cure process and the grow process. Are those
Right.
like an acronym or something?
Those are an acronym. Yeah. The C is for clarify your feelings.
Mhm.
Feelings are like the alarm going off, letting you know, hey, there's something wrong. If I start feeling angry, then I know there's something I need to pay attention to.
Mhm.
But most people, or many people, really don't know how to decode that anger. So they don't know what to do with it.
So C is clarify the feelings.
Right. The U is to understand the warning message in the feeling. What is that feeling telling you? If you're driving, you'll see that I like to use a lot of car illustrations. You're driving your car down the road, a little red light on your dashboard comes on. You know you have a problem. If you stop and you deal with it, you may save your engine. If you just ignore it, keep on driving, you may lose your engine. You still don't know what the problem is. But when you look down and you see which light has come on, you know something about what the problem is. If it's the oil light, you know the problem's with the oil pressure. If it's the overheat light, you know the problem's with the cooling system. So by identifying the alarm and understanding what that alarm is telling you, you can begin to know what to do about what's causing that problem. Then the R in the cure plan is to reprogram your attitude. Once you've identified the alarm and you know what the message in that alarm is, if that message is a false message, or if you're feeling something that's out of proportion to what the situation is, then you know that there's a belief system you need to reprogram. So the R is to reprogram the attitude, and then the E is to evaluate the consequences. Is your reprogramming working? If it's working, great. Keep on doing the same thing. If it's not working, then you have to cycle back through the process and work through that process again. Now, that's for the internal stressors, the attitudes and the belief systems, the self-talk that's going on that's either triggering stress or amplifying stress or keeping you stuck in that stress. Then with those external stressors, the situations, the circumstances, and actions, that's the GROW plan. The G is to generate a goal. I teach people to use power goals. Power goals go way beyond SMART goals. SMART goals are designed to motivate you. Power goals also motivate you, but they go beyond motivating you. They enhance your self-esteem, and they even can program your mind to begin working on achieving the goal. So I guide people through a process where they can identify those situations and from those situations generate a power goal. Once you have a goal, you may or may not know how to go about achieving it. Even if you do, you're probably going to need help and support and assistance along the way. So the R in the GROW plan is to reach out to resources for help. With the help of those resources, you organize a plan, and then you walk that plan daily or regularly if you can. Some issues you don't work on daily, you just work on them regularly, maybe once a week or so.
And then the O.
The O, the GROW, GRO, the O is organize a plan. And then the W was walk that plan daily or regularly. I used to say daily. I realized that there was a lot of problems that you don't work on daily. You work on them, you still have to work on them regularly, but it's spaced out more. So I changed daily daily to regularly.
All right. Well, thank you very much for explaining that, Dr. Paul. Appreciate that. So, always organize. I'm writing things down, ladies and gentlemen. You need to write things down, okay? It's very important that you write things down, because when you see it, you forget. When you hear it, you remember. But when you write things down, you're actually understanding it more. That's why I'm typing it up too, for our audience. But let me just do a quick recap on the internal and the external stressors that Dr. H. Paul was talking about. So he has like 4-step intervention on the if it's internal or external stressor. So first is the cure process. So he said letter C is clarify the feelings, right? You got to clarify it. Next is you understand the feeling. That's what Dr. H. Paul said. Next is letter R. This is the cure process. Reprogram your attitude. It has to come from here. You got to reprogram yourself. It's perfect for my clients too, for our therapy. And then of course you got to evaluate the consequences. You got to evaluate if it's really effective or not, right, Dr. Paul? And
That's
then
right.
next
If it's not working, you need to do something different.
that's so true.
That's,
And then the next is the external stressor. How do you handle it? The external ones. So you generate a goal. It's very important that you have a goal. Just like planning. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. The same thing in therapy. We got short-term goals, we got long-term goals, and then any kind of goals. And like what he said, not just a SMART goal. SMART goals like specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. What he's talking about is power goals. All right. It's very important that you have those goals in life. All right. Next is you reach out to resources. This is where Dr. H. Paul comes in. You got to reach out to him. All right. And next is letter O is you organize it. In therapy, we organize, okay, this is what you're going to do today. This today, this is tomorrow, in the next few weeks. That's the goal. All right. The plan. And last but not least is you walk that plan regularly. You got to implement it. There's an action taking here, not just planning, not just thinking or goal setting. You gotta implement this. Okay. All right. Where's Dr. H. Paul? Dr. H. Paul, let's go ahead and bring back Dr. H. Paul. Dr. H. Paul, where can they reach you? Where can they find you? Do you have a special website that they can go and
I
sign
do
up
have a
or get a
website,
free book
and
or something?
I see it screen going across your screen there. It's hpaulstanleycoaching.com. If you go to that website, on the homepage and basically every other page of the website is a free gift that any of you watching this video can get. It's an ebook, a short ebook that I wrote. It explains a little more detail about this program that we've been talking about for the last few minutes. The name of the ebook is The 5 Best Ways, Prosper in the Pressure Cooker When Life Turns Up the Heat. The 5 best ways to thrive. Yeah, the 5 best ways to thrive in every aspect of life or every area of life.
All right. Again, thank you very much, Dr. H. Paul. Appreciate you. Again, reach out to him. Go to his website. There's free ebooks there. Obviously, ebook, but is it also available on Amazon if they want to purchase the actual book?
No, this is just a short ebook that talks a little bit about what we've been talking about, the different components of a good stress management program. Perfect. I do have a book on Amazon. The name of it is Strength. Here it is, Strength for Stressed Out Saints. It's a Christian guide to managing stress. I wrote this several years ago, and I just recently updated it just in the last month. So.
Perfect. I need to get a copy of that. If you can send me a link, I'll buy it through Amazon. Again, thank you very much, Dr. Paul. Appreciate you. But before I let you go, ladies and gentlemen, always remember the word fast. Dr. Paul loves loves acronyms too. He's got the cure method, clarify feelings, understand feelings, reprogram your attitude, evaluate. So we also have the word fast. Here in our show, we got the word fast, F-A-S-T, letter F. Find people that will bring out the best in you, because you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to remove that stressors in life, go talk to Dr. H. Paul. Maybe he can help you out, some non-medical stuff that can help you relieve that stress, okay? Next letter is letter A, take action. All this stuff that we're doing is not going to do me good. It's not even going to do Dr. Paul good if you don't take action. Take action by going to his website, download this book. If you want to buy his Amazon book in Amazon, you'll buy it. Take action. All this stuff, like what I said, It's not going to do me good and Dr. Paul good if you don't take action. We want you to take action. You go out there, do something, okay? And even in this acronym on the external stressor, the W, it says walk the plan, walk that plan. You got to implement, you got to take action, okay? Next letter is letter A. Take letter A. And letter S is share and subscribe. See, I'm running out of English. I'm losing the letters there. Letter S is share and subscribe. The more shares, the better. Share Dr. H. Paul's website. Do you have a Facebook page, Dr. Paul?
I do have a Facebook page. In fact, I have 2 pages in my profile. My profile is H. Paul Stanley. Everything that is published on my pages starts off on my profile.
There you go.
And so if you go to my profile, I just occasionally move it over to the pages. I don't use them much anymore. One page is stress relief source. The other page is Luke 252 lifestyle coaching.
There you go. There you go.
But if you just go to H. Paul Stanley, the profile, you'll see everything that ends up on those other sites. So.
Perfect. So again, let's letter S. Share and subscribe. The more shares, the better. Go share his website. Go share his Facebook page because it might not be applicable to you, but it could be applicable to someone else. Okay. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, is letter S. You got a letter S. Letter T is teach it. Why? Because when you hear it, you forget. When you see it, you remember. But when you're actually teaching it, you're actually understanding it more. Again, thank you very much, my Facebook friends, YouTube, and people who are watching and listening to our podcast. Appreciate you. Thank you very much, Dr. Paul, for joining us in our little show. Be awesome, be great, be excellent. And we will see you later, my Facebook and YouTube friends.
HelloNote is a truly therapist-friendly practice management solution with integrated EMR that will enhance workflow, efficiency, and patient care. HelloNote reduces error and allows you to spend more time with your patients. It comes integrated with billing. Claims are generated once a note is completed. You can bill with one click and a patient portal, which streamlines the patient intake process. Beautifully engineered and cloud-based for easy accessibility, the software works on all platforms.